Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast where we read a Pixar DVD review from or Disney. We're playing on Pirates of the Caribbean off of a off of a DVD Disney.
This time we are having a look at The Incredibles. It is, for those who may not know, it is the sixth and latest film from Pixar, who just 10 years gave us the first fully computer animated feature film, Toy Story. Pixar had followed their debut effort with an unrivaled string of critically acclaimed box office successes. The Incredibles did not even come close to breaking that streak when it was released in theaters last November. The film earned some of the best reviews of the year and has grossed 259 million in the US to date. Pixar's impeccable record has certainly won the public's approval and left the rest of the movie making industry to wonder just how they do it. Now, um, oh, stupid pop up. Um, they won the public's approval and left the rest of the movie making industry to wonder just how they do it. Is there some kind of formula that can simply be plugged into a bunch of computers to generate a film destined to win over critics and moviegoers? The movie, well, The Incredibles answers that question with a resounding no, because there isn't anything which resembles past Pixar productions except good quality entertainment. The Incredibles is marked with by a series of firsts, from the first opening logo that doesn't feature Randy Newman's theme music to the first time that human characters are in the foreground. In fact, the film centers on a family of humans, that being the Parr family, who were on the surface may seem pretty ordinary in appearance and behavior. The father, Bob Parr, is an insurance claims adjuster. Helen is the mother, who is also a housewife who tends to baby Jack Jack. Two additional kids, the shy Violet and the hyper Dash, round out the family unit. There's more to this typical middle class suburban family, though, because as the film's opening scenes reveal, once not too long ago, both Bob and Helen were superheroes protecting the public with their super strength and elasticity, respectively. They had costumes and names, Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, and an adoring public. Several lawsuits later, amidst criticism and protest, supers became relocated, involuntarily retired, and had their secret identities become their only identities. Fast forward to present day, and Bob Parr's in a slump. His days are spent in a too small cubicle where his willingness to add clients conflicts with the company's interests, in fact pointed out to him by his pint-sized tyrants of a boss. When the day is done, Bob fights rush hour traffic in his too small car to a family that isn't exactly flourishing either. The kids, Dash and Violet, have powers of their own, which they too must keep under wraps. Dash, who poses the ability to run with remarkable speed, can't compete at sports and is left plotting pranks on his teacher. Violet, who can render herself invisible and is trying to master the art of the force field, is shy and self-conscious to a fault. Uh, no advertisement, really? Oh, great. Oh, great.
Ads suck.
And now it's wow. What is going on? Can you just finish loading a little bit? I don't even know what's going on. Hmm. What the heck? Oh, great.
Please stand by, people. We're having some technical difficulties here.
Well, we're gonna have to. Guess we're gonna have to do it like this then, huh? Hang on. Dude. There we go. This better load, please. And no stupid pop-ups. I don't know why, but for some reason DVD Disney is kind of a little slow finishing uploading. Hopefully it stops. All right, at least it kind of did it. All right, there we go. Because I had to use the computer then, because for some reason blame the stupid ad pop up on my phone. All right, so let's get back to business. Bringing the family together for dinner time is like pulling the lid off the blender and letting everyone's issues swirl around with messy results. These deputies and a normal sibling rivalry often complicate things between the parental units. Helen accepts the current situation and wants to embrace a normal existence for the family. On the other hand, Bob wants to relive the glory days, to which his study is a type of shrine. Wednesday's bully night proves to be the only opportunity for his friend Frozone, civilian named Lucius Best, and him to pick up police reports on the radio and secretly prove heroic. Much to Helen's dismay, a mysterious message for Bob leads to a cure for his unsatisfying daily routines. He's called on a mission to the remote Nomancian island, where he will once again have an opportunity to prove super. The exotic day-saving adventures of Mr. Incredible and the complicated dull suburban existence with a troubled but loving family present two very different options for our protagonist. This plays the central crux for film, which is in action and adventure, but even richer in characters and story. But the rest of Bob's family can't help but be thrown into the mix as Syndrome, or should I say Buddy Pine, the fanboy turned madman, acts out his plans to earn the world's respect and rid it of superheroes. Naturally, their symbolic superpowers are called upon, but to reveal any more might spoil a bit of the pure thrills that the movie packs. Those thrills are countless and deserve to be experienced without foreknowledge, even if they are no less potent on repeat viewings. The Incredibles was written and directed by Brad Bird, a former consultant on The Simpsons, who made his directorial debut with 1999's The Iron Giant. A flop at the box office, Bird's well-reviewed film, a type of Cold War twist on E.T., found an audience on home video and has developed strong internet following. The roots of this film, about a family of superheroes, go back more than a decade to a time where Bird envisioned it as a cell animation project. Bird brings to Pixar several unique characteristics, but he stays true to the studio's ideal of storytelling first and foremost. Of course, Pixar's state-of-the-art animators assured that Bird's first CGI project was the technical prowess, which matches the wonderful script. And I'm surprised that this article didn't mention that Brad Bird is also the director of Ratatouille. Which, of course, he is.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not on there. Oh, maybe it's because I think this article was made in 2005. I think, I don't know. Well, all right, back to film. In the winning action sequences that populate of much of its second half, The Incredibles calls to mind the pacing and tone of the original Star Wars films, and it ascends to the heights of that grand, crowd-pleasing epic with universal appeal and even more adrenaline. Brimming with action, the film never forgets the drama of its all too human superheroes, and it remains moving and relevant during its flashiest spectacles. Unlike the previous Pixar films, The Incredibles is not primarily a comedy. Instead, the film is seamlessly fused with humor that either sidetracks nor waits for laughs. And also, considering this is Pixar's first PG film, and I never knew it was going to be Pixar's first PG film anyway. There's a bit of an edge as the film earnestly tackles discontent in modern society, but there's also the warmth that layers the best of films, and warmth which never gets sentimental and yet doesn't false or tacked on, or doesn't feel false or tacked on. Um, every new film that Pixar has released since Toy Story has seemed to have people saying the bar has been raised. Well, it's far to say that again, since The Incredibles has visual fireworks beyond anything we've ever seen before. The most obvious thing to notice is that Pixar has used a 235 widescreen aspect ratio for the second time. The last time they did was for A Bug's Life, a film which also avoids any of the surefire Pixar conventions, even if that is mostly retrospective analysis for only the studio's second film, and has unfairly developed a knack for being the least strong link on the chain, with reviews and grosses that fall a bit below the others while still far on the side of positive. Like that film, which seemed to call for a grander canvas to tackle the natural world, the decision to utilize a scope format for the high octane action in The Incredibles seems logical. To be fair, such a rationale it could be used to justify the same for any of Pixar's usually or visually stunning productions. The wide frame lends itself to creating some unique cinematic images, and the location animation is breathtaking, particularly in geometric city blocks and in lush green hills of the secret island. The animation of the humans both is obviously stylized and remarkably convincing. When your primary subjects are characters that are not bound by the laws of physics, you're opening yourself to endless possibilities in depicting their motion in endless ways in which to fail. But in animation, as in anywhere else, the film excels, creating a consistent and realistic feeling world where limits to speed, flexibility, and strength are thrown out the window. Watching The Incredibles so close to Bambi has me contemplating contemplate contemplating contemplating their similarities. While the two films are practically polar opposites when it comes to subject matter, pacing, and story, they share at least one thing in common. The Incredibles achieves the plausible impossible, an ideal that Walt Disney and his animators strove to convey. It is in a world where humans move and act realistically that we can be swept away in an unadulterated fantasy and believe it. Though separated by more than 60 years, Bambi and The Incredibles are both milestones in animation and the two must-own Disney DVDs this March. While talking to Pixar, the term masterpiece is relative, but having seen The Incredibles several times now, I believe it is one of the studio's best efforts and one of the best films anybody has made in years. Pixar continues to amaze me, while its closest competitors may shun originally. The stud shun originally. The studio embraces it, and the results may have been wonderful each time. Fresh, funny, and everything a moviegoer could want. The Incredibles is the sixth time in as many tries that the computer animation studio has worked magic. Keep your eyes open for a nice cameo appearance late in the film by legendary Disney animators Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, two men who have contributed so much to the medium over the years. All right. And now we have the DVD details. All right. All right. Video and audio. Pixar's perfection in filmmaking has always been matched by the flawlessness of their digital presentation on DVD. The Incredibles spots a direct digital transfer and is as usual for the studio without incident. While none of us thought the computer animation in Toy Story was lacking in less than 10 years, it's remarkable how far Pixar's visuals had come. The Incredibles pushes the medium as far as it gone, ambitiously taking on a variety of locations and refusing to shy from the challenges that certain details or materials may pose. All of it is wonderfully rendered in this beautiful 2.39 anamorphic widescreen transfer. The human characters, the Fox archival footage, the exteriors, the amazing visual effects, they combine as a feast for eyes, one which is presented with remarkable clarity on DVD. The level of detail to the transfer and the source material of Pixar's animation is spectacular. Colors exhibit consistency, no bleeding whatsoever, and a great richness. From the icy white outpouring of Frozone to the clue blue setting of Syndrome's quarters, from the vibrant red Incredibles uniforms to the lavish greenery that adorns Nomancian Island. These appear to be no color banding and no edge enhancement, two shortcomings which seem to afflict even some otherwise solid transfers of new films. In short, you could spend all of your efforts looking for problems with this transfer, but I think you'd be better off doing something else. You won't find anything to complain about, and you find focusing your attention on the film's majesty a much more rewarding endeavor. In the sound department, The Incredibles boast an excellent Dolby Digital 5.1 X track, which is Michael Giacchino's invigorating score intentionally calls to mind the music from James Bond's films of the mid-60s setting that Brad Bird apparently evokes here. The horn-heavy instrumentation is beautifully conveyed, and as is the usual top-notch sound design Pixar has poured into creating the world of superheroes. The soundtrack feels about as dynamic as any DTS presentation, so don't worry too much that such an option is not offered. Dialogue is never overpowered by sound effects or music, but the whole mix gives you a wide range of dynamics with plenty of peaks. Ideally, you should enjoy the film with the volume cranked up, but if not, you have to adjust your levels during playback. There's really nothing else to complain about, as the audio presentation is every bit as clear and robust as you hope for. Now, just like the DVD for Finding Nemo, almost everything on both discs is encoded as 16:9, so that oddly enough, 4:3 and non-anamorphic widescreen material is window boxed within the 16:9 frame, resulting in black bars on all four sides on a DVD-ROM. The top secret NSA files were the only 4:3 encoded in content I noticed. On the 4:3 TV, I think the 16:9 material operates the way menu screens do, lopping off the excess black sidebars, but I could well be mistaken. All right. two feature-length audio commentaries are provided for the film. In the first, writer-director Brad Bird teams up with producer John Welker. I don't know if it's because it is so good, but the commentary seems much better than average as well. It's probably due to the fact that there's so much to appreciate in the movie. And Bird and Walker point out even more, including things that you might not have taken in even after a couple of viewings. They also have plenty of interesting anecdotes to share from the 4-year production of the film. There's hardly a blank space in the discussion, as Bird especially has a lot to say. The technical discussion never gets dry, and it always never becomes the entire commentary. Although there is a far amount of name dropping, there's a nice upbeat tone to the track, and humor turn up from time to time. For instance, one very funny moment that has Brad Bird describing the computer's HAL 9000 or 900 mentally to make things small and weightless in direct contrast to their filmmaking plans. It's also amusing to hear Bird get worked up about people calling animation a genre. All right. One minor drawback is that the commentary was recorded nearly 2 months before the film was released to theaters, so the pair doesn't have distance from production or post-release perspective. Still, overall, the track is full of insight and helps you appreciate character traits, decisions on lighting, color, and editing, and much more. The second audio commentary track brings in the animators, 13 in total. With that volume of speakers, you can forget trying to connect remarks with a certain filmmaker. Not surprising considering the environment, the discussion is quite technically orientated, and it's not quite as enjoyable as and commonly enlightening as the first track. It's still worth a listen, especially for aspiring computer animators. The more interesting moments reveal how they could use the same human to get very different results. For instance, Frozone and Bon Voyage, and how they didn't go for a super realistic level of facial detail, instead happily settling for their unique type of card cheer. Among the numerous inspirations cited are 101 Dalmatians, Apocalypse Now, and Rankin Bass's Santa Claus is Coming to Town. In fact, the charm of Rankin/Bass specials is something they strove for. Other topics include working with a director who has a newcomer to 3D animation, the adult themes of the film, and whether it's necessary to have the celebrities voice animated characters, that being George Clooney and Harrison Ford recorded a few lines as Mr. I before the less prominent and more apt Craig T. Nelson's vocals were employed. The only other bonus features on this platter is a 1-minute introduction from writer and director Brad Bird. Now, unlike the goofy Pixar intros of the past, Bird goes for more informative, as he encourages viewers to calibrate the systems with the THX optimizer, which shows up in the setup menu, in order to enjoy the high-quality presentation in all its glory. He also mentions a couple of extras that one can find on disc 2. And oh yeah, here's the previews. This time, I was wondering why they didn't mention it. Disc 1 opens with the teaser trailer for Cars, Pixar's next film, and what appears to be their last distributed by Disney, bearing the updated release date of June 2006. I was just about to point that out. Thank you, Luke Bonanno, for pointing that out, even though I was just about to say why. Actually, let me look. Why? Let me see. Let me look. Why was Pixar Cars pushed back to... 2006. Their decision was largely driven by a marketing strategy championed by Steve Jobs, the then CEO of Pixar. Oh, well then. Interesting thing to know. Well then. That's interesting to know. Although, I couldn't get over how breathtaking the first teaser was. Let's say we hear we get a racing montage, we get the early version of McQueen, who was going to be number 57. And not so much of a fourth wall break, but Mater and McQueen reacting to their own trailer. That's interesting to see. Other trailers include Chicken Little and this fall's Platinum Edition of Cinderella. The sneak peeks menu, which in a nice touch matches the rest of the selection screens for once, contains additional promos for the second Miyazaki wave, Lilo and Stitch Has a Glitch, The Incredibles video game, and Disneyland's Twilight Zone Tower of Terror attraction, aka a terrifying advertisement for an attraction right there.
Yeah.
And now, disc number 2. Like Pixar's films, their DVD bonus features hold universal appeal, whereas Disney strictly designed some activities for the kiddies and some for the animation enthusiasts. Pixar delivers a variety of material, much of which is cleverly created just for the DVD that is sure to please all. A number of Easter eggs appear scattered about the menus. Hint, look for the Omnidroid icon. And yet, another nice touch of all the bonus features, including Disc 1's 2 commentaries, offer subtitles in English, Spanish, or French. On his intro to Disc 2, Brad Bird talks about how he loves DVD bonus features. He provides an overview of some of the extras with the incumbent accompaniment of some clips. This short, Jack Jack Attack, is being touted as something special, and the good news is that it is something special. Filling in the gaps from the movie, the short illustrates that just what was happening between Jack Jack and this lead teenage babysitter, Kari. The voices, animation, and sound design all match the high production values of the film, though it is presented in the 1.78 aspect ratio. And the short is positively hilarious, reviewing Jack Jack's unique behaviors and making fine use of Mozart music. This cartoon deserves to be recognized next year at Oscar Next Time. Well, that explains Jack Jack being crazy towards Syndrome back there. The next section, deleted scenes, contains a whopping 34 and a half minutes of content. 6 substantial sequences, and they are complemented by detailed deconstruction and explanation by Brad Bird and story supervisor Mark Andrews. They talk freely about the scenes that had to be cut and why. The scenes are well realized and edited as animatics, making it easy to appreciate how they could have worked in the final film, even though they're composed of monochrome two-dimensional story sketches, score, dialogue, and when needed, when some sound effects make these story reels feel alive. Digital work appears to help achieve this feel too. For instance, there is a 3D plane in one scene. The first sequence presented is a fascinating and lengthy alternate opening in which Bob and Helen, last name Smith, are introduced to the neighborhood at a barbecue. The couple, who in this early version have just one kid, have trouble fitting in as secret superheroes, and Helen being a housewife in a town of working women. The second scene is an alternate to the existing plane crash sequence from the film. In this version, Helen's friend Snug is pilot and he bites the dust. The third is a follow up in which Vipers pass overhead and miss Helen, Dash, and Violet in the water. A shot of the sequence was animated, but it was all too much of a burden to pursue. Bob and in Traffic starts a bit similar to a scene in the film, but here he helps out a pair of cops in catching up to a criminal and is disappointed with the thank you he gets. Next, Helen confronts Bob, makes the film's suggestion of extramartial affair after much less subtle when Helen finds a hair on Bob's suit. It's kind of funny, but unnecessary. Later in last is Helen's Nightmare, a brief dream sequence which plays Mrs. Incredible's fears of her husband's infidelity. We only get to see this interview interweaved with the filmmakers talking, and it wouldn't really work without the explicit statements of the previous excise segments. There's one more deleted scene presented as an Easter egg, which is covered below with the rest of the hidden features. Which the next is behind the scenes, which offers a number of exciting features. The Making of The Incredibles is a fine 27-minute documentary that lets us step into the production rather than simply dishing out praise to all the makers who are going through the steps we've seen before. The recurring theme one gathers from the creative environment on display is that Pixar animators rose to the challenges the film demanded, while at the same time having a goofy good time at the studio. There's something refreshing about the filmmakers passionately arguing over a character's hair, for instance, or the animators getting inspired by a scene from the Jungle Book. This splendid piece allowed us to unreservedly see the give and take between the artistic and financial demands of the film. Among the highlights of the documentary, we get to see Brad Bird riled up, John Lasseter among his increasingly coolly adorned office, and Michael Giacchino fantastically devising the film's score. There's even an handheld video footage of Bird's first day at Pixar. In addition of the well-paced general documentary, Pixar offers more Making of The Incredibles, which is 41 additional minutes of additional featurettes on 10 specific topics that can either be played together with a useful play all option. Vignettes on story and character design feature discussion that is very specific to The Incredibles, so you don't need to fear old ground being treated despite the generic titles. Evolution centers on developing the character Edna mode. Building Humans makes you appreciate the details in the film that hint at realism and you take for granted. We hear about the challenges in creating wardrobes of various materials and believable hair. Violet's long hair proved quite the task, as did animating wet hair and wind. Building extras explains the process of using one Universal Man to create hundreds of background characters. Set design elaborates on the film's setting of mid-60s in an alternate universe, where the environments emphasize a technically believable future of the 60s that never really emerged. Sound contains the always interesting revelations of what created what audio effects in the film. Music documents the recording of the horn-heavy 60s influence score, which explains the inspiration for James Bond. Lighting provides some keen demonstrations of how it can set the mood of a scene. Tools highlights the technical achievements of the film in its depiction of humans. These nicely produced vignettes take you further into production while always remaining interesting, no matter what the subject. Altogether, they complement the general documentary very well. Incrediblunders houses a reel of rendering error set to canned laughter and cheesy music. There's some pretty racy stuff in the wardrobe malfunction section. In Violet, an essay by Sarah Vowell, the voice of Violet gives a sarcastic tour of her superhero's office. Vowell contrasts her career as a political history radio commentator with her role as a voice actor in Incredibles. She's funny and not the teenage girl you expect, even if she gets quite excited about seeing her action figure for the first time. It's an amusing piece, and it includes a neat clip where Pixar matched audio from one of Val's documentaries with animation of Violet to illustrate the perfect marriage of voice and character. The art gallery manages to provide a unique way of looking through stills which document the visual development of the film. It's broken into 6 sections and is quick and easy to navigate. I hear raining a little bit. Story holds 11 black and white sketches. Character design contains 26 stills, many with multiple parts, which neatly display the characters gradually taking their shape. Set design and color scripts both seek to find the mood and palettes for the film, with the latter providing a color basis for the catchy end credits design. Lighting houses 26 artistic stills attempting to convey various techniques. Some of these are compellingly impressionistic. Lastly, collages holds 19 hodgepodges of assorted character wardrobe and scene designs for the film. I would have loved if they gave us an art gallery for Cars. I mean, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
And there are also the teaser and theatrical trailers. Yes. There's one certain teaser trailer we've seen in the Finding Nemo DVD. Which is the one where Mr. Incredible attempts to put his belt buckle on.
Yeah, we're at the publicity section now, guys. I'm actually reading this along with him, just not out loud. I would show you, but I don't like seeing my face. I don't like showing my face.
Well, back to the trailers. All of these are presented in anamorphic widescreen, but only there'll be surround sound and not 5.1. It's disappointing that these are none of the various TV or print ads that show up late last year, but the inclusions of trailers is pleasant surprise in itself on a Disney DVD. Again, I would have loved if that was in the bonus features of the Cars DVD. Pixar, why did you drop out on that?
I don't know. You kind of skipped the part where it describes the interviews.
Oh, all right. Can't forget that. And Publicity, you find character interviews with Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Frozone, and Edna Mode. They each explain the fact that it's just a movie where liberties are taken in their portrayals. Various interviews were edited together with the Pixar animation, and with each interview here features a different one from KABC, Access Hollywood, Extra, and E. Although altogether they run 6.5 minutes, and good use of chapters allow one to skip to the next character if desired. The next is The section is top secret, and its menu transition brilliantly treats it as such. Housed here is its silly lost cartoon and a slew of character profiles. Mr. Incredible and Pals parodies the simple cartoon action programs that once existed in earnest. It features terrible puns, limited animation. The lip movement seems to be achieved with live action lip footage, and a convincingly aged appearance Mr. Incredible along with sidekicks Frozone and a buck-toothed bunny named Mr. Skipperdoo, trying to outwit the evil Lady Lightbug. It's very tongue-in-cheek and very pretty funny. Equally funny is the optional audio commentary by Mr. Incredible and Frozone, originally voiced by their original voice actors Craig T. Nelson and Samuel L. Jackson, where they disagree about just how awful it is. In NSA files, you find top secret profiles of 21 supers. There are ratings on things like strength, intelligence, and endurance, and notes on powers and personality. Plus, there is a lengthy sound clip for each, most featuring that super stats. As an audio only supplement, this isn't the most exciting thing on the disc, but they're amusing listen if you have time. Plus, it sounds like the original voice cast is all present for the leading characters. Unlike most Toy Story related stuff where you get Jim Hanks as Woody. Boundin'. It is the Oscar nominated short that played before The Incredibles in theaters. It tells the tale of a proud mountain dancing sheep whose life is thrown off by some shearing. It's certainly grown on me with each viewing, and though it departs from the no dialogue Pixar tradition, I think it's one of the finer short cartoons they've made. You can also choose to view the short with commentary from writer-director Bud Luckey, who sounds just like the narrator of the short. He reveals some interesting connections to Finding Nemo as well as his inspirations for Boundin'. In this section, you also find a nice little featurette titled Who is Bud Luckey? It's parts of making of on Boundin' and part profile of the man who wrote, directed, and did all the voices for the short. One of the few surprising exclusions is a game of any kind. Frankly, after seeing some of the lame set-top activities passed off as DVD games, I'm not lamenting the absence of something similar here. I'm more disappointed that the spirited internet-only first-in-line trailers and holiday-themed TV print ads didn't make this set. This is what happens when a DVD is put together before a film is even released in theaters, a fact acknowledged on the commentary track. The set is without a 5.1 sound effects only track, which has turned up on all of the past Pixar DVDs except Nemo. While few have the time and desire to watch the entire movie and only hear sound effects, a one-scene example might have been a nice and easy inclusion, or better yet, a sound mixing demo, where you can choose to isolate dialogue, music, or effects. The voice cast in something played up for all DreamWorks animated films goes entirely unmentioned and unseen on disc 2. Both commentaries make passing reference to the apt actors selected for the roles, but the focus seems to be more on the technical side of creation than the celebrity. Behind-the-scenes featurettes from the time of release did cover some of the ground and would have been nice to have on DVD. Those of you who want to discover the hidden bonus features on your own, feel free to skip to the next section. Otherwise, here's an overview of some humorous Easter eggs scattered about different sections of the DVD. Most of the menus contain one Easter egg, and some offered several, although I discovered 11 on disc 2 and 1 on disc 1. The only Easter egg I found in the first disc is a random 33-second clip of Mr. Incredible dancing in his old uniform. This can be accessed from the commentary menu. Thanks to Christian for pointing this out, and I missed the first time around. All of the rest are the hidden features on disc 2. There is a quirky, fun Easter egg one can access from its main menu. It's a 2.5 minute montage of all the moments in The Incredibles featuring buttons, doors, and explosions, prefaced by notes from Brad Bird and set to a recognizable piece of classical music that I ashamedly can't identify. This impressive reel underscores how well crafted the film well crafted the film is, since it never feels redundant in spite of the sheer volume of these three phenomena. The deleted scenes menu's Easter egg is an 80-second deleted scene in story reel format, like the others of Dash's mustachioed teacher giving his pupils some terrible life advice. This leads to Dash's sneaky act of rebellion, and it's unclear why this sequence isn't located with the rest on the menu. The behind the scenes menu holds what's maybe my favorite Easter egg. A 1 minute and 20-second short on legendary animators Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. We see a video of them providing feedback on an early Incredible story reels, and Brad Bird explains the cameos in the film. Another Easter egg through this menu is a 65-second montage featuring the antics of a particularly animated, not literary, Pixar story supervisor named Mark Andrews. In the more making of menu, there are a couple of brief outtakes of sorts, featuring alternate takes of film scenes that in not fully finished states. An Easter egg in the publicity section contains a 10-second 16x9 interstitios of Mr. Incredible struggling for the remote with Dash and Frozone. Selecting the sometimes available graphic when it pops up alternates between the two. From the setup menu, there's another Easter egg, and this one is funny. When the filmmakers feared they wouldn't get anything done in time, effects artist Mak Kobayashi came up with a solution. He put the 3.5 minute version of The Incredibles with sock puppets. A number of memorable scenes from the film are acted in a very low budget way, and one of the winged stars for the birds even makes an appearance again and again. For the disc 2 index, or should I say from, you can find an Easter egg of one animator scarfing down his wife's chocolate cake for the love of his craft, included as per a suggestion excerpted from the animator's commentary, and another whose scootering adventures come to a painful end. Menus and packaging. Well, I was normally going to say they didn't mention about the menu screens, but now that they said that, thank you again, Luke, for getting that on here. Let's have a look at these menu screens. Menus on both discs are supremely well designed. The first disc utilizes the artistic 2D looking showlets that appear in the end credits. And that action sequence is always amazing to see. Because you hear the end credits music from Michael Giacchino. The plain movie sequence, well, you get more action before you hear more action music before you get the THX logo that looks similar to the one from Terminator 2. However, the second disc, does not exactly sound that exciting as you think. And why is that? Well, it takes you inside Syndrome's computer system with the password that says Chronos, representing the various screens with a sleek uniform layout. Each set of menus also makes good use of 5.1 sound. While the menus are very simple to navigate, those seeking a single list of all the extras can make use of a 2-page index on Desk 2. The Incredibles is packaged in a standard with dual black key case housed in a shiny happy cardboard slipcover. Design closely resembles Finding Nemo, and only this time the scheme is red, not blue.
Inside the case is a mini booklet with several incredible Steam ads and a coupon for the DVD of Bambi, which will make up for someone who missed out on a superior release date deals. The 8-page DVD guide covers all the bases you expect. It features a swell cover in the style of the credits art, provides a map of bonus features, a list of scene selections, a neat 2-page graphic of the Incredibles fam, and an overview of 7 prominent supplements. Closing thoughts. The Incredibles is modern day animation at its finest, and this two-disc DVD release is delightful. The set provides both a sincere look at the impressive creative atmosphere, which allows Pixar to turn out hits without fail, and plenty of the fun we've come to expect from them. The film presentation is positively perfect. Supplements are extensive and endlessly entertaining. Not only should you get this DVD as soon as you can, but you should introduce the film to anyone who who is not crazy or already crazy about it. You'll be doing a great service, as films and DVDs this good are a rarity.
That was a very long read. Wow.
Yeah, that was very long, I know. And I don't know if it's just me, but the bonus for the art gallery and the trailers, I never understood why Cars missed out on bonus features like this, like what Finding Nemo and Incredibles had. I would have loved to see what the art gallery was.
So would I. Anything else to say before anything else to say before I decide when we can do the first Pirates of the Caribbean DVD reading of that, and then end this off?
I really do enjoy the Incredibles DVD, me personally, but never really got around to the bonus features that much. But again, it just seems like after reading this, it just makes me feel interested on getting looking at those material. And again, I never understood why. I would have loved to see what Cars would have been if they had such fun bonus material like that.
Yeah. Anyway, tomorrow, maybe, I don't know if Duke's available tomorrow. If I'm available tomorrow, maybe we can do maybe we can read a review of Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one to be exact, tomorrow. And if we don't get the chance, we can read it on Saturday. How does that sound?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, we will see you all either tomorrow or Saturday.